Good morning, good morning, good morning, Nudelberg Daily Huddle. There's no doubt that we are going to have a fantastic show today because our guest, Bob Denison, who we've already been spending some time with before the show, we got wrapped up in conversations about just about every single different kind of topic you could talk about. We talked about the 86 Mets and old school baseball. We talked about James Clear and Atomic Habits. We talked about Chanel and Shay's baby. We're just all over the place. Talking about being bat boys, absolutely everything.
That was actually a great show before the show. When the guy lays out 3 C's to roll right out of bed, bang, it's good stuff.
1,000%.
What a great way to start the month. Welcome to February 1st. As you can see, the trade dress around us, we're about to raise some money.
Yeah, it's February, and we are 6 weeks away from the American Heart, the Heart Walk for Broward and for South Florida. And we're super excited to be able to talk about the event today, to bring on Bob Denison, who is the co-chair, talk about our partnership with City Furniture and how we can raise dollars and what we're going to do. And we're also going to talk about some incentives that we have for you guys to give. But before we can do any of that, let's get to some morning wake up music. Then we'll come back and we'll really get the show rolling.
Wake up, everybody! Get up, get up, get up, get up! Wake up, come on, come on. Wake up, everybody! Did you know me? Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in bed. No more back to thinking, time for thinking ahead. Come on now.
So just before we get started, it's February 1st.
It is February 1st.
Snap your fingers, and there went 31 days. Wow.
January has come and gone. The first 5 minutes of the first quarter are over. We're moving on to the rest of it. And the best part is that no matter whether it went well, whether it went shitty, no matter what happened, it don't matter. You got another opportunity to step up to the plate today. And I'm going to use a whole bunch of baseball references because of our guest, Bob. And now we're in the baseball mindset. But you got another at-bat. And you're going to continue to get at-bats. And it's all about what you do with those and how well you prepare yourself for stepping up to that plate. So what's in your mindset? There's a ton that I have to go through in this show. I don't know whether or not we're actually going to get to any of it because I know this is going to be a great conversation.
Let him go, right? Just let him go.
So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce the American Heart Walk co-chair, Bob Denison, CEO of Denison Yachting, absolute local celebrity. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you very, very, very much. It's awesome to be here. Huge deal for me. And an added bonus, I was able to leave the house today without having to take the kids to school. So my wife is back home doing all of that without me, and I feel like I'm on vacation. So thank you for that.
Takes the team, man. We know it takes the team.
We're
Exactly.
glad to give you the excuse to get out of the house and that you were able to join us this morning. Before we get into the Heart Walk, we're going to get into all that stuff later and why we're doing it and what we're doing. I think it's super appropriate for you to kind of give your story to our audience, introduce yourself to them, let them know who you are, where you come from, and maybe talk about being a bat boy for far too long.
I would love that. Anytime I talk about being a bat boy, it's for way too long, especially if you don't like baseball. I'll just keep going and going and going. But yeah, I'm a local kid. Grandparents moved down here in 1948, it was actually on their honeymoon. They came down and they ended up buying a shipyard, built boats for many, many years. If you know boats, you may have heard of a brand called Broward Marine. That was my parents or grandparents. The year I graduated from the University of Miami, 1999, they sold the company, and I immediately felt lost, lonely, confused. How am I going to survive in this world? This thing that I was supposed to do is gone. And I worked for a tech company, pivoted to an aviation company, and then started this thing called Denison Yachting, which is, I'm going to just make the really easy comparison. If you know any real estate firms, if you have any friends that are realtors, we do the same thing. except with yachts, which makes us cooler because yachts are cooler than homes.
Yes,
And we have about 175 people, 22 offices across the U.S. Basically, in any town that you would think would be like a cool place to go out on the water, we hopefully have an office there. And yeah, I'm just going to say, although it's going to sound terrible, but we have the coolest company in the industry. We're the best.
There's
Well, let me comment on that, because I firmly believe this, is that the company takes on the personality of its leadership, and you definitely land in the cool bucket. So no surprise. I haven't met anybody else in your company, but when I did meet you at the breakfast wearing yellow pants and a cool blazer, I was like, this dude is somebody I want to know, man. So,
you see how easy it is to impress you? All you have to do, if you ever want to impress the clan, I'll just wear yellow pants, the Nudelberg. I mean, it's just so easy. And by the way, those yellow pants, people think they're expensive. It's like $50 at Banana Republic.
I'm really glad that you clarified, like we're talking about the Nudelberg clan, because I don't know.
Yeah, I said the clan. I don't know why they came out that
talk
way.
About the clan on the Nudelberg.
Show just take a left turn, man.
Rule number 1 on any podcast: don't reference the clan. So sorry about that.
But so prior to the show, we had talked about how you were a big fan of James Clear and Atomic Habits. I can only imagine that there are some real mental discipline lessons that come from your journey of having what you thought was your vision completely disappear, and then finding your way through a few other arenas or a few other industries in order to get back to really what your passion was. And maybe you didn't know that from the beginning and you found out, but how did that happen? Can you walk us through a little bit of that?
Yeah, so I mean, it really was kind of a heartbreaking thing for me growing up. I always thought I would be in the construction part of it with this brand that was awesome, loved it. My grandparents started it, parents were involved, uncles. So I sort of assumed in some way my path would lead there. Of course, it didn't happen. Late 90s, early 2000s, of course, it was like the tech boom. I went to work for a great local tech company and started to pick up some of those really great just rules of thumb in the world of technology, which is, as you guys know, in any business, it's less about the code that you write and all that stuff, but it's just about trying to create opportunities to make the client experience way better, right? Like creatively figure out, how do I make sure that somebody that is my client, whatever industry you're in, it just has the greatest experience of all time. So that was really embedded in me. And then at some point, of course, I love yachting. It's just sort of a cool thing to do. But there was also this heavy family obligation. You might want to call it manipulation by my parents. This you need to get back. We need to figure out how to you get it. And I hate to say that, but I do need to give my parents a little bit of credit for an unhealthy amount of get back here. We need to, So they did that, and we started out. We totally pivoted. I mean, from scratch, working out of my house. With a few friends and my parents. And then sometimes we are now one of the bigger players. And sometimes to some people, it seems like an overnight success, but it's that continual year after year. We've grown about 10 to 12% for 22 years. And that, of course, when you do that over a course of a few decades, you land somewhere pretty good.
So I've got a little bit of a surprise for you, since we're talking about your company and we're talking about how you've grown it. We actually have another family member who has some great insights into the company. Shay, play me the true CEO of Denison Yachting and his thoughts on who the best employees are in the company.
Now, maybe a special message from Rivers Denison. So, Rivers wanted to tell you guys who his 5 favorite people are that work at Denison. Go. 1.
My dad.
Me. Nice.
Alex.
Alex Howell right there. Not Alex Clark, Alex Howell.
Josh.
Josh, Director of Marketing. Nice.
Riley.
Riley is awesome. One of our great interns here.
Lee.
Lee Hall. That's 5. Good job. I think you missed somebody.
Lauren.
Well, Lauren. Yeah, Lauren. She's amazing. What about the one that gives you chocolates all the time?
But I already did 5.
You already did 5. Okay. Well, Kathy gives you chocolates, so you might want to... Kathy, I guess if we have to name another one, Kathy.
So
thank you guys for that. Rivers showing up.
Well, so there's a couple reasons that I had pulled that, because number one, if I don't know you, if I don't know anything about you, and I see you posted that video, I watch that video, I get a great sense of who you are, what's important to you, how important the family business is to you, how much fun you are, and how you're willing to put your kids into it. So that's a huge pillar of what we talk about with people in today's world, is using the tools at your disposal in order to let people into who you are. How did you end up in that? Like, obviously you know it's important, but how did you come across that for yourself?
I don't know. I think I'm a pretty informal, off the cuff kind of a guy. And I really value and I appreciate in others when you can have an unscripted conversation about anything. And I think the world, especially there's so much content, media everywhere. And I think sometimes we try to curate things perfectly, or we try to edit things so that we're sort of in our best light. It's this like Instagram, I promise this is really me, I'm this beautiful, I'm having this much fun all the time kind of a thing. And I think there's at some point, I think it's starting to happen, there's a repulsion of that. So when we do little monthly updates, we try to keep it a little informal. We have fun with it. And whenever I make a mistake or I stutter and any of that stuff, we try to leave it in because it's just part of who we are. And so the authenticity part of it. And then, I mean, it's just true to us. Like, that was Rivers. He would be fourth generation of doing this, and just pulling him in. And by the way, he wants to be a YouTuber, that's like his thing. He's 7 years old and he thinks he's going to be a YouTuber in like 2 years. So I was trying to pull him in that world a little bit. Yeah.
Look, he's not camera shy. There's no doubt that he's not camera shy. So get a YouTube channel.
So here's an interesting takeaway, though. All of the pictures of the people he named, they were all smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
You look at pictures of people that work in companies that they're not happy.
Yeah.
So that's a real indication. Again, success leaves clues. The people that are there are happy to be there, glad to be part of something. And it's just obvious that what you're doing is working. So congratulations.
So the video I pulled that from was a monthly update where they showed the Christmas party that you threw, which there were kids there, there were family members there. It looked very inclusive. And a lot of times when you see a company throw a Christmas party, it might not be that much fun. It might not be that, like, I got a very warm feeling, and I got the sense that everybody there was having such a great time. How do you scale that through a company that is geographically spaced out and a large number of people?
Yeah, it's really hard. That's probably one of the great challenges we have culturally. I like to brag about our culture. I think it's awesome. But to scale it across different offices, different locations, even here in Fort Lauderdale or in Broward County, we have 4 different offices. So it's hard sometimes to create a culture. But we try. I mean, first of all, we understand at the very top, our family understands, and everybody here that is in management understands that sometimes you spend more time with the people you work with than your own family. So it's not like this, let's try to be nice to everybody kind of a thing, because it's sort of important, but it is like hugely important, massively quality of life stuff. And we really want people to feel good about the place they work. And it's also, I was influenced a lot by Tony Hsieh, who wrote a book called Delivering Happiness, which is about his sort of launching a Zappos and the whole thing. And he really created this opportunity for people to be themselves, even if it's a little bit weird, but just to feel comfortable in a work environment so they can just be who they are and not feel like they need to fit into this thing to succeed or get promoted, but they can just be great at what they do and their personality can be true to themselves. And I think it's not only good for business, but again, it's just a fun way to do life. And I hope people here really.
You know what's interesting about that is that I've actually been to Vegas and been on that tour when he owned the company. God rest his soul.
I always wanted to do that. Unbelievable.
It was amazing. His book is amazing. He was a really unique dude, but all the way down to everybody, even the interview process was very different than anybody else. So it's interesting because I thought I saw, pieces of that in you, and then, wow, you name it, that's like a lightning bolt to me.
No, huge. Yeah. I love giving books away. It's like my favorite thing to do. I guess I'm like the boring uncle that does that. We all have an uncle that's like, hey, instead of a toy this year, you're going to get a book. But I've bought and given away maybe 300 copies of that book. And it's really impacted me in a huge way.
Good for you. Why don't we get to why we're here?
Yeah, so let's go to the morning motivational music because it's very appropriate. It fits the huddle. It fits who you are. It fits what we're talking about. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about American Heart. We're going to talk about the Heart Walk. We're going to talk about our whys. And we're going to talk about what we can do to help.
So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion to rock the boat. I don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. I don't tip the boat over. Rock the boat. I don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. Ever since our voyage of love began, your touch has thrilled me like the rush of the wind, and your arms have held me safe from a rolling sea. There's always been a quiet place to harbor you and me. Our love is like a ship on the ocean. We've been sailing with a cargo full of love and devotion. So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion. Rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. Don't tip the boat over. Rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat.
Oh, I'll be singing that all day.
Yeah.
That one's deep. That's deep in there.
I had so much fun selecting that song and like figuring out where I was going to cut it off because I was like, yeah, I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on it, but I was like, it's too good not to just let it roll.
Love it.
So changing gears, the reason we are here is it's the start of February. It's the start of our fundraising efforts for American Heart. You are the co-chair. Would love for you to share why you got involved with American Heart, a little bit of your story and your why and what we're doing with American Heart.
Yeah, so I got involved. This is the real honest version. It's I guess why we all get involved with things is there's somebody we really respect that has earned the right to basically say to you, you should help me out with this thing, like whatever that is. For me, it's Andrew Koenig, who you guys know is just one of those really, really awesome dudes all the way around, family, business, life. He's just one of those people it's hard not to look up to and respect. Like whatever he does is just worth tracking, right? So through our friendship, learned more about what was going on at the American Heart Association, and he asked Ryan Shea, and Ryan's another one of those just awesome dudes, to help get involved. And for me, it was not only an easy sell because it was Andrew, but also because the heart thing is a big deal to our family. But I'll have to admit that it was at first I was a little bit like, American Heart Association, do they really need any more money? And what do they even do? They what do they do? Prevent things that are preventable anyway? Like why is this important? And the more I dug in and the more I started asking Andrew questions and started talking to the people at American Heart Association, the more I fell in love with their mission and what they're up to, which is really a lot of boring but unbelievably important life-saving things. So anyway, I mentioned that because if anybody is starting to tune out because you're talking about a massive organization, they are really, really good at what they do. They're lean and they are awesome at making sure that the money that's donated goes to things that save people's lives, right?
And here locally, right?
And yeah, totally. And it's one of those things where I think sometimes it's almost a little bit easier to go build a well in Africa or to support that, which by the way is an awesome thing to do, but there's a tangible kind of thing there, and you can maybe even name it, Stephen Mark's well or whatever, and it becomes this like thing you can point to and put a picture on your wall and you seem kind of cool. But American Heart Association is a lot of giving that results in saving lives of people that you've never met before or that you never will meet, right? It could be somebody's life you saved in the year 2080. So I got involved and I love it. For me personally, and I know that's the thing about heart issues. Everybody's impacted. For me, 6 people in my family have passed away in some way connected to heart disease or a heart-related issue. The most personal to me, actually 2 are, they're all unbelievably personal, but my big brother who passed away out of nowhere at the age that I am right now, a bunch of years ago, was a real eye-opening. It was It was a blood clot thing that happened. Nobody expected it. And it became a very real, oh my gosh, not only my own mortality, but like this issue. And then that same year, my wife and I had our first baby. Her name is June. And she lived in the NICU for 4 or 5 months and ended up passing away, which is obviously one of those life's all-time hardest things. And it was related to a heart issue. So when you talk about these things, it's easy to disconnect it from real people and real lives. But for me, it's an extremely personal thing. And I'm really, really proud of what the American Heart Association is doing. It's always a little weird asking for money. But for me, it's one of those, like, this is kind of a no-brainer. Like, the only thing that's hard to overcome a little bit is the size of the organization and the fact that sometimes heart disease and heart attacks are attached to like natural causes, which doesn't necessarily make it okay. Does that make sense?
1,000%. I think to drive it home locally, like for those of you who don't know, American Heart Association, the volunteers worked for the city of Fort Lauderdale to pass the Tobacco 21 law, which helped raise the age from buying tobacco products, which cause heart disease and heart problems, to 21, to help mitigate some of the problems or help push, people to be older when they can make better decisions. And, it does affect the local community with, diabetes devices and blood pressure devices and all of these different tools that can help people be successful, and education on how to eat better and actually delivering foods to families. So there's so much that happens here locally. I do want to show the video that we have from AK and from Zoe. There was a great event that was the executive for Heart Walk kickoff event. They talked about it in person. I'd love to show to the Huddle. Shay, give me the video.
I'm teaming up with City Furniture to support the American Heart Association. Andrew, why do you support heart health?
My why is my Uncle Kevin, who founded City and lost his life to heart disease at just 54. We want you to participate by sharing your why on social. Use hashtag CityCares.
Show some heart. Join the cause and share your why.
So super cool that Zoe's a part of this now. The Heart Walk is actually going to be on Sunday, March 13th, which is a great event. We talk about it all the time. If you can't give money, then give your time, give your effort, do something to help and get involved. So there's plenty of information for that. But if you do want to give money, right? And go ahead, Dad.
So philosophically, you either believe you're here for a reason, and one of those reasons is to just make it good for everybody else. If you can help, like I hear that story and I'm just torn up by it. So I want to help so that someone else doesn't have to go through that. If we can make change, it's our responsibility to do that. We as a company spread it to the things that matter. Everybody has their why. You can't be everything to everybody. But when you hear stuff like that, if you just, all of us touched it a little bit, that little bit goes a lot. So we're not asking for, you to break the bank. But you know what? Instead of going out to dinner one night, throw a deuce on this and just know you did the right thing. And what we've done, first of all, we stepped up at the breakfast. We committed, as we always do. We gave the first 5,000, which we're thrilled to do. But we want to incent everybody that we know in the month of February to give a little bit. And if you give a little bit, which reminds me of that Supertramp song, sorry, if you do, we worked our network to say, give and you shall receive. So Shay, show me what 2 of the prizes are that if you donate in increments of $50, you can get a Quorum watch. Rich Lewis is a buddy of mine. I've done lots of charity work with him. His company is very, very philanthropic. They're all handmade watches. The retail on any one of these watches is $10,000. $50 gets you an entry into it. So donate $50. You're in the running for that. So if you did $500, you got 10 chances to win that watch, and it's a doozy. By the way, I am buying one of those watches for myself. And then we called on our friends at Celebrity, who are always so great. And they said, here is a 7-day cruise. I've been on the Celebrity Apex. It's brand new. It is badass. They kept it clean. They kept us safe. So 4/2 to 4/9, get your taxes out of the way, and boom, you're on a cruise, and all you'll be responsible for is $190 in taxes and tips, and you're on your way for 2 people on a 7-day cruise. Same thing, $50 gets you an entry. So if for nothing else,
I have a third one that I'm throwing out there. And by the way, you guys weren't ready for this. This is totally unscripted, but I had it prepared, and you guys have to agree to it, though, which I think you will. The third thing is going to be a boat ride on the New River, historic New River in Fort Lauderdale, with a great bottle of wine and your choice to join you on a double date, the Nudelberg of your choice. For me, it would be Shay if I won, but it's anyone that you guys have to agree to this. So that will also be an added prize. The boat and the wine will be provided by us, the company, and the
agreed.
And the vibes will be provided by you. Are you guys cool with that as prize number 3?
Yeah, we'll create the third thing. So if you use the scan code, you can go right to the site, and when you're there, you can put in the amount you want to spend and what prizes you want. So if you wanted to spend $50 on each, it's a $150 donation, and you have a ticket. We're going to run this the whole month. You're not limited to the amount of stuff. I know I'm putting in extra money to go on the yacht with Bob. So,
Shay, so let's walk people through exactly how to do this. When you scan the code, it will take you to our Huddle team page. Shay, can you show me that? Excellent. You can click on make a general donation to this team. When you click on that, it's going to take you to a donation page that allows you to select how much of a gift you want to give. And then all you have to do is make sure that you click display my name on the Huddles page. Type in your name, -boat, -cruise, -watch, right? Or if you're donating $150 and you want all 3, just make sure that you designate where you want your money to go for tickets, because however many tickets you buy, you have that many amount of chances in order to win that thing. And then we will do a random selection with the tickets bought, and we will give a prize away to each of the 3 different categories. So super excited for this event. This
fundraiser. Yacht ride down New River.
No, don't call it a yacht ride, by the way, because everything's selling out. It might be a very small boat, but the part of it is just hanging out with you guys. So don't call it a yacht ride. I just got a text from my attorney. He was like, "What are you doing?"
It will be rowing.
Yeah, awesome. Exactly.
So
it's exercise, which is good heart health.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Perfect.
So scan the QR code. Shay will attach the link in the Huddle comments. We will be posting about this all month long. Bob, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for kicking this month off the right way with us. Dad, you got any last words?
Yeah, I would just say I'm really proud to be in this community with guys like you. Yeah. Guys like you, guys like Andrew Koenig. This is the power of the neighborhood that we live in. Approachable, really good guys who are doing really good things. We're in good hands. Join us and help make this. Our goal is 20,000 for the month. So we're already at 5. We're looking for the rest of the universe to come in. Our universe will be pounding away at it. And now you have stuff to take away. And in addition to being a good person, you get to go on or use any one of these 3 prizes. So I'm jacked. It's going to be a great month. So all good stuff.
So I already made one mistake, which was referencing the Klan, which is my second mistake is going to be inviting myself back at some point when baseball season starts to talk about the Bat Boy years. Is that okay?
I love it.
Okay, cool.
You are definitely more than welcome to come back to the Huddle.
We could create a monthly segment with Denison. And
the Denison Day.
Bullshit, because you are great, man. It's so much fun.
The Denison Day might be a recurring show. Awesome.
So fun.
Thanks, Bob. See you guys soon. Let's get down to business. Have a great day.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night, one more